The airplane is basically a tiny model of a class-divided society, and that being made to feel the gap, the inequality itself, is what tips people into air rage. Welcome to Free Cell Lab. Today I'm playing game number 40. Play along, see if you can beat my score. By the end of this episode, you'll have something most people don't: the ability to process before you react. Now back to the plane. Just having a first class section on board, regardless of whether you walk through it to get to your cozy, humble seat, did something. Economy passengers on a plane with a first class section were almost 4 times more likely to have an air rage incident than economy passengers on a plane with no first class at all. The exact number was 3.84. That's the odds ratio, and I barely pass statistics. I can also barely say the word statistics. So the odds ratio is just how many times more likely one group is than the other. So for every one meltdown in coach on an all economy plane, there was almost 4 times that on a plane that had a first class. Having a first class section on a plane made economy passengers about as angry, get this, as a 9-hour delay. You know that burning irritation, sitting on the tarmac for 9-hour delay, except for nothing was delayed. There was just a nicer seat somewhere up front that wasn't yours. There was also a second finding, and that was that boarding through first class and walking right past those leather seats, glass of wine, hot towel, made the air rage even worse. But another group of statisticians looked at the exact same numbers and said, that one isn't really there. It's only showed up after a bunch of adjustments and just kind of vanished in the raw data. The researchers pushed back, the original researchers, they pushed back and defended it. That argument is still sitting there today, unresolved. The part nobody's fighting over is the simple one. Just having first class on board, that one still held up. So next time somebody says to you, well, there's a study that proves, you get to sit there nodding quietly, knowing that studies don't really prove much, except maybe that people are complicated. Welcome to Free Cell Lab. Anyway, people who get reminded of their status, where they sit, behave differently because of it. And that's not really in dispute. And that's the part that I kind of want to focus on, because these social experiments and findings are our springboard into human nature. And the takeaway from this study for me is that we pass some version of first class way more often than we think. And it almost never happens on a plane. A coworker's email promotion gets CC'd to the whole team. A friend's new kitchen, vacation, relationship, scrolling past on your feed. A meeting where somebody makes sure everyone clocks their title before it starts. We feel that flicker. And at the beginning of this video, I said you'd walk away with a tool. Process before you react. So here's the tool, and I'm borrowing it from someone. It's not a Free Cell Lab original. That is notice, acknowledge, and let it go. So first, notice your thoughts, your feelings, and your physical sensations. And I mean actually drop into the body for a second. The ground under your feet inside your shoes, the weight of your glasses on your nose, the breath you're always taking. When that flicker hits, it lives there. Maybe the tight chest, the shallow breath. And you can't work with it until you've actually felt it. Now acknowledge it. Don't fight it. Don't shove it down. Just, there's the flicker. Notice and acknowledge. That's the pause. It's the whole second you need it. And then let it go. You felt it. You named it. You don't have to hand it to whoever's standing closest to you. You don't need to hold it. That's the tool. Notice, acknowledge, and let it go. I'll go deeper on the noticing part another time. There's a lot to it. But that's enough to catch the flicker before it goes on overdrive. Free your cell. If you want to keep the conversation going, drop a comment. When's the last time a room made you feel small before anyone said a single word? And that half second is the entire difference. See you in the next experiment. And if you're still here, I actually wanted to take a moment to zoom out for a second. The whole premise of the study, which was a class system on planes, to me is a bit ironic. Whether you're sitting in economy or first class, you've just climbed into a metal tube that is about to lift into the sky and set you down about maybe 1,000 miles away, something no king, emperor, nobody with all the gold in the world, when gold was a currency, nobody with all the gold in the world could have done 200 years ago. It's about what it took to be sitting there at all, to buy that ticket. You certainly had to have enough money, an address, a phone, a credit card, a quiet stack of things working in your favor. Being on that plane at all is its own kind of first class. And in 2026, I understand inequality is a hot topic. And I'm not saying your life is great. Being able to fly somewhere doesn't mean your grandmother didn't die of cancer. It doesn't mean nobody's ever looked at you and said something cruel. It doesn't mean any of the hard or unfair things that have happened to you didn't matter. I'm only saying this. Sitting on that plane in either seat, you are holding a kind of privilege that most humans who ever lived never touched throughout all of history. And that can be completely true at the same time as your life being hard. Both things fit. The lab is always open, and I'll see you next time.